In a quiet and gentle atmosphere in a room lit by the afternoon light, Eunwoo sat down with a small smile that couldn't be hidden. His face reflects a calmness that is so rarely seen in the midst of his busy schedule as an actor and singer. When the interview took place, no one thought that behind the calm that he radiated, stored so deep feelings about the little things he liked in his life. When the interviewer asked gently, "What's your favorite thing lately, Eunwoo-sasai?" The man lowered his head for a moment. The previously small smile now turned into a warm smile full of meaning. "It may sound simple," he said in a low but confident voice, "but what I like most about this moment is that it is peace." It was so quiet, yet it echoed throughout the room. Peace, something that sounded familiar to many, but from the way Eunwoo pronounced it, it felt as if the word had a much deeper meaning. He then stared at the slightly open window, letting the afternoon breeze in, carrying the scent of the rain that had just subsided. "I love it when I can sit alone without the sound of cameras, without the glare of lights, without dialogue that I have to remember. I just want to hear the sound of the wind or even just silence," he said again that I end that moment. It was clear that Eunwoo was not only talking about the things he liked, but also about the side of him that was rarely shown. All this time, the public knew him as an almost perfect figure. A handsome face, a gentle voice, a brilliant career, and a polite personality. But behind all this, it turns out that there is a very warm and simple human side, a person who just wants to find peace in small things. Eunwoo added with an almost embarrassed chuckle, "I love it when I can sit in a small cafe, order a cup of hot coffee, and then watch people pass by without knowing who I am. Feels soothing. Sometimes I bring books, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just stare out the window, and I realize I can still feel calm even though the world keeps going fast." For someone like Eunwoo, whose life is constantly in the camera spotlight, such a quiet moment is probably a luxury in itself. The interviewer sitting in front of him even admitted that the atmosphere of the interview felt very different. There is no distance between the artist and the media. There are only two humans who speak with open hearts. When asked to explain further what peace meant to him, Eunwoo stared at the floor for a moment, then said quietly, "Peace is not about place or time, but about feeling inside. I learned that I don't always have to run to look successful. Sometimes, I just need to pause, take a deep breath, and remember who I really am." He admitted that in recent years, his life has gone too fast. "I often forget how to enjoy the little things. Busy schedule, pressure, expectations. Sometimes I forget to be grateful for the simple things. But now I'm trying to be more conscious. I love to look up at the sky before I go to sleep. Sometimes I talk to myself and say, 'Thank you, Eunwoo, you fought today.' It is so simple, yet so touching." Many fans who read the quote later flooded social media with Haru's comments. They write that the phrase makes them also want to pause and appreciate themselves. In a fast-paced world, Eunwoo instead reminds everyone to slow down, not to forget the inner calm in the midst of the hustle and bustle of life. The interviewer also mentioned Eunwoo's perfectionist habits. When it was mentioned, he laughed a little and said, "I'm still a perfectionist, but now I prefer to be a perfectionist in loving myself. I used to get mad at myself when things weren't perfect, but now I realize that sometimes imperfection just makes me more alive." The smile appeared again on his face, a smile that was not only sweet, but also sincere. He then shared one little habit that he really likes these days. "I like to write little notes at night. I wrote something that made me thankful that day. Not big, just little things like, 'Today I laughed with friends,' or 'Today I saw the sunset.' I think the more grateful I am, the more peaceful I feel." His words created such a warm atmosphere in the interview room. Everyone was silent for a while, not because they ran out of words, but because they felt sincerity in every sentence he said. Nothing far-fetched, nothing is regulated. Only a man speaks honestly about his simple happiness. However, in the middle of the conversation, Eunwoo paused and let out a long sigh. "Sometimes I miss being a kid," he said softly. "I miss the days when I didn't have to think about anything other than playing. But life goes on, and I'm grateful to still be able to live it all with a calm heart. Maybe that's why I appreciate simple things so much now." The interviewer smiled and asked, "If you could repeat one day in your life, What day would you like to repeat? Eunwoo thought for a long time, then replied in an almost whispered voice, the day when I can have dinner with my family without rushing. I like it when we all sit at the dinner table, joke, laugh, and there is no mobile phone in anyone's hands. It was a moment I missed. She later told that despite her busy schedule, she tries to maintain communication with her family. I always call my mom when I'm tired. Just hearing her voice was enough to calm me down. Sometimes I don't talk much, just quietly listen, but it makes me feel loved. Maybe that's also part of the thing I love the most, the feeling of being loved unconditionally. The atmosphere of the interview became so quiet when he said that sentence. There is a vibration in his voice that makes anyone who hears feel moved. I learned that love and peace are related. When we love someone sincerely, peace comes by itself. And vice versa. When our hearts are at peace, we can love others more tenderly. Eunwoo stared at the camera for a moment and smiled. I hope the people who watch this interview find something they like, too. It doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be spectacular. It can be just a cup of warm tea or time to walk alone. But when we find that little thing and make it a part of life, the world feels more beautiful. After the interview was over, the production team described an unusual atmosphere. Usually, after the camera turns off, the artist will immediately rush away or have a short conversation. Yet Cha Eunwoo remained seated in his chair for a few minutes, staring out the window with a calm face. When one of the staff asked if he was okay, he just smiled and said, "I'm just enjoying the afternoon." That simple sentence describes the entire content of the interview that day. That in the midst of the glittering world of entertainment, Cha Eunwoo is still a human being who appreciates the beauty of silence. That behind good looks and fame, there is a tender heart, there is a soul thirsting for tranquility, and there is a person who is not afraid to reveal the most truthful thing about himself. And perhaps that's why fans love him so much, because in his figure, they see not just a star, but a person who dares to show his human side. In a world that often demands perfection, Cha Eunwoo instead chooses honesty as a reflection of himself. The thing I like the most is not something I can buy or show, he said, closing the interview. It's in the heart. Peace, gratitude, and love. 3 things that keep me standing and smiling every day. As he stood up and lowered his head to salute the entire crew, everyone in the room knew one thing for sure. Cha Eunwoo wasn't just talking about what he liked, but who he really was. And among the slowly dimming afternoon light, the warmth of his words still remained simple, but unforgettable. After the interview was over, the atmosphere in the production room still felt warm. Some of the crew were seen smiling at each other, as if they had just witnessed something more than a question and answer session between artists and the media. One of the staff even said quietly, "Every time Eunwoo talks, it feels like he's sharing sincerity, not just answering questions." That phrase describes everything. Cha Eunwoo is not only good at presenting himself in front of the camera, he lives with the same honesty as the words that come out of his mouth. A few days later, the interview snippet was uploaded to official social media, and within hours, the name Cha Eunwoo instantly became trending on various platforms. The short clip of him saying, "I love peace," was watched millions of times in just one night. Many netizens wrote comments full of admiration and emotion, such as, "Eunwoo's words calm the heart," or, "He really speaks from the soul, not from the script." Even fans from outside Korea wrote in multiple languages, expressing how touched they felt just by hearing the soft tone of her voice.